something like that. So anyway,
before you interrupt,
yeah.
before you go on, I just wanted to interject on a point you just made. I don't know if you saw this. It was NBC News, I'm 99% sure, just had a piece about how mental illness and suicide has increased enormously among elderly people because they're trapped in these nursing homes and no one's talking to them.
Yeah.
And one of the things I only half joke about Ayn Rand is that her villains are much kinder in her novels than they are in real life. And the shamelessness of a piece like this, when this is something we were all discussing for months, it just really, on a visceral level, enraged me. I don't know if you saw this, but I just want to hear your thoughts on that. Just sorry, as a sidebar.
Well, as a matter of fact, there was a nursing home in Colorado that made national news because the residents held a protest. And one of the signs said, rather die from COVID than loneliness.
Oh.
And, another one saying, give us freedom. And when they were asked, why are they doing this? They said, well, we look forward to things like a hug from a relative. This is what gives our lives meaning at this point. And this is an opinion I've heard from a lot of people at that age that, look, if I've only got a year or two to go, I'll be damned if I'm going to spend it in some isolation chamber. What is the point of preserving my biological existence if I can't fulfill any of the purposes of my life?
This is our punishment for the worst of the worst killers. Rapists get cellmates. Child molesters get to be in Gen Pop. They get to fraternize. But someone whose only issue is that they've managed to live a long life and they can't afford maybe their own home or can't care for themselves, they're going to be locked into a room where they can't talk to their grandkids. It's so disturbing to me how blithely this is passed over by the corporate press when the whole premise is we're doing this to save these people's lives. Well, maybe ask them what they think.
Yeah. Ask them what they think, indeed. In fact, that's exactly what the governor of Florida said when he had his press conference opening up the state again. He said that, of course, we want to take special precautions when we're dealing with people who are particularly vulnerable, which would include the elderly. And he said, but at the same time, we have to be careful not to assume we know what they want. Is because I know of a lot of older people who, when their relatives come to visit them with masks on, ask them to take the mask off because they want to see their faces. They want to see their smiles. And I mean, who are we to say, no, you can't make that value judgment because we've determined that this number of days of your life is worth one smile? I mean, this is kind of crazy. And then, although it's not dealing with elderly people specifically, there was a very interesting story that came out, and this was on all the news services from CNN to Fox, saying that in Japan, just last month, there were more suicides in a month than there have been COVID deaths all year.
Oh, I thought it was I thought it was month to month. A month over a year?
The CNN headline reads, in Japan, more people died from suicide last month than from COVID in all of 2020.
My brain kind of autocorrected it to be because
how could that be? Right, your brain, I think, would have been right most of the time.
Okay, it's like maybe 1 month. Okay, so their COVID deaths were low. Japan has a historically high suicide rate. Okay, it's not that. Wow. Oh my goodness.